Well, folks, the pond saga continues.
Yeah.
But you act disappointed. I'm excited about this. I don't know why. I've been excited this whole time about it. We got about an inch of rain here. We've drained it out with our sump pump, but you can still see the water there. Chrissy,
Hey, it's holding water.
yeah, you seem less excited than I expected you to be.
It's just taken a longer time than It's taken a longer time, and there's a lot more science to it than I envisioned.
Okay, speaking of the science of it, we alluded last episode to the idea that we'd get an expert involved. Well, we have.
Thank goodness.
The expert is contained right here in this bucket.
Wow.
Now, we're working with a company called Natural Waterscapes, naturalwaterscapes.com/TTWT. And the reason you want to go to that special site, our landing site there, is because we're going to have a lot of the details of the pond saga
Yep.
that we're going through. There's some of this stuff that I'm just not going to be able to go through in video. For example, the first step that they wanted to do with us is they got soil surveys from the county.
Yes.
From our county right here, and they are localized to our property because there's surveys that have been done way back in the 30s of all of these soils. And they have made some judgments based on the soil types that they saw.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually.
And I can't really explain all of that at this point, so naturalwaterscapes.com/TTWT is a great place to go to see some of those details and to watch as you see what we're going through on this project. Today we're going to do what they call a bucket test, and that test consists of using some bentonite. Right, this is bentonite clay in here, and
Looks like cat litter.
it is cat litter, believe it or not. Two things that it is that people might be surprised about.
Okay.
Cat litter and drilling mud. So it's used for oil drilling or any sort of drilling. You'll see that thick drilling mud.
Yeah.
That's bentonite is used to make that. It expands a lot when water hits it. So we're going to use it to seal the pond. What we don't know yet is how much of it we need, and that's where the bucket comes in. We'll put some dirt in here, we'll mix it with bentonite, and then we'll put water on top of it, and we'll have to test to see how much bentonite we need to stop the flow of water through it.
Okay. That makes sense. I'm glad we can test without just guessing at it.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, though, is there'll be some degree of guessing because, well, it's not scientific. As you've seen, there's a lot of different soil types here, and they're going to behave differently. We have two buckets to test two totally different soil types. That's what we're going to do. Let's get started. This is an area that has some of that bluest of the blue clay. I realize it doesn't look blue anymore, right? Because air has had a chance to get to it. But this is some of that clay that we thought was the best at holding water. And this is what we put around the sides, all the way around these sides. And this is, I only have a few areas left of the really good stuff, right? So I want to test that in one of the two buckets. Yeah, this is pretty dry. This is drier than I expected. I was afraid we were going to have to let this dry before we could even use it. We'll get a nice mixture here for one of our two buckets. I think maybe this might be the worst of the worst. It's got a lot of rock in it, at least on top here. It's got some clay in it, but it's sandy here. So I think maybe this would be the best area to do the second test. And even then, I don't know if we're going to be 50-50 of this kind of soil. I think this is, like I say, the absolute worst. I don't think we got anything any worse than that as far as water holding capability. One reason I kind of like it for the test is it is the worst. The second reason I like it for the test is it's drier right now, and so we should be able to get it to work easier with our buckets, get it mixed in. I think this one's dry enough to put in the bucket. The other one, we'll have to see when we get back down there. These test buckets come with several different bags pre-measured to test a certain pounds per square foot of bentonite, from 2 to 6. I think these are the extremes, and we have everything in between. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Has holes in it. They say 6 to 8 inches. It would seem to me that 6 to 8 inches would be a big variance, right? I mean, you would think, well, 8 inches is going to seal a lot better than 6 inches, so you would think it would have to be more exact than that. I don't know.
Me, being the scientist that I was, wish I'd have measured inside the bucket exactly to 6 and 8 inches.
Well, you can go get a tape and we can do a better job if you'd like.
Okay.
Guess that's so much for the Tim approach.
All I did was mark a 6-inch line and an 8-inch line inside the bucket, so we can see.
So does the term 6 or 8 mean anything to you?
It's not precise enough for me.
Right.
I want to say measure 7 inches of soil, and I want to know how compact it should be.
Well, I mean, that's part of my question. When they say 6 or 8, do you think maybe they're providing an indication for us?
Yeah, but how are you going to know where 6 was?
I think they're providing an indication that it doesn't really matter. If they wanted 7¼ inches, they would tell us that.
You see, I'm a rule follower, and I like precise instructions, and they provided that, so I'm trying to help them out.
That bottom mark is 6 inches?
Yep. See?
Wow.
You're already like, is that more or less than you thought?
That's more than I thought, so I wouldn't have had. Wonder if I can include this rock.
No. My point exactly. Don't you think so, Bo?
Okay, so we'll go to 8 inches before I compact.
Okay.
That's a lot of soil.
See?
That's almost a bucket full.
We probably wouldn't have put enough had we not measured. Guys, measure inside your bucket. I'm just trying to help to get a good test.
Yeah, she's going to make this accurate instead of just kind of done. Hey, can you grab the shovel there, please? Maybe I can distract her and I can just go put some dirt in and we'll call it good.
I thought you learned your lesson that it was a good idea that I measured inside of there.
I didn't distract her enough, did I?
No. How many do you need? Maybe I did too many last time. Is that enough?
I assume they need to be all the way around because I might be just a little out of level in some place.
You might be. That could skew the results.
It's quite a drying day. It's only been a few minutes. It was all white on top here. Still probably not quite dry enough, but since one of the steps is adding water, maybe that doesn't matter. I shouldn't say that because that flies against the rules of my chemist wife.
I'll give you that one. They didn't say that we had to test the moisture of the soil to see where it was at before we started, so it's probably okay. You're up above my line.
Okay. Would you like to remove until such time that it is?
Yeah, come on. Do it right. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right.
More?
No.
That's good?
Yep, I think we're good.
Okay, on to the next step. I'm using a paint stirrer to try to, I don't know, break up the clods of this soil. By the way this thing's made, I think it's packing it, it's compacting it more than I really wanted to at this stage, but it is breaking up some of those clods. The instructions say to take this bag, we're going to use the 2-pound version, 2 pounds per square foot. And it says to put it in there and then mix it thoroughly. I'm just going to pour it all in there. Boy, 2 pounds of this in 8 inches is not going to be much, is it? Right now I'm mixing it like a McFlurry, you know, where they only get the goodie in the top couple of inches. By the time you get to the bottom, you have nothing but pure ice cream.
Pure ice cream, yeah. Why did you pick the 2 pound per square foot?
Well, I want to make sure that I try the least amount possible. I don't want to have to buy any more than what I need, and if that doesn't work, we can repeat the test with the other bags. That's why we have separate bags for each amount. Totally different soil. This one is much more sandy. If 2 pounds does this, it's a miracle. But I'm just going to put this all over the top like the other one. And again, it is the 2 pounds per square feet. Okay, so I'm wondering if I've got any of it to the bottom, just like the McFlurry. But on the other hand, that's the way it's going to be in the real world anyway.
Yep.
I'm not going to have it 8 inches deep. We're going to call that good for this stage. Next step is to add 3 cups of water to this mixture, and then we're going to have to mix it again.
Okay.
That sounds messy. Let's try it.
But we will measure 3 cups exactly. See, I have a measuring cup.
Okay, she's got it. I don't think even in the sand it'll be enough to go all the way and leak.
Let me get the little camera.
Okay, so that's 5 seconds after you've poured the 3 cups in.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly going down.
It's soaking in, yes, for sure.
I'm actually kind of surprised that they asked for this step. I thought the bentonite, I didn't think they would want us mixing it after we put the bentonite in. Doing this step in the real world is going to be interesting. After we water it.
Yeah.
And then we have to fill it again when it's mucked like this?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they actually suggested that. This may just be for the test bucket. Okay. I'm going to say that's good on that. I've got this huge tamper, but the next step is to tamp in the mixture. I'm not sure it's going to work.
I don't think so.
No. No. I'm going to have to modify my tamper to make it work.
I think you may have to find something different.
Nah. What are we going to use? I think that's probably as good as it gets, don't you? Since it's so wet in there already, you know, that did some compaction on it already. In other words, we're down below your 6-inch line, even though we started at the 8-inch line, right?
Right.
Let's move over to the other bucket. Now, this is the blue clay soil here. Now, I've been teasing Christy about this test and about how thorough she's being, but I actually kind of think this seems like a very realistic way to do this. So I'm pretty excited about this, and it's something I would not have considered, honestly. Quite simple, but I think it's going to be effective. Here we go.
Is it harder to mix?
Yeah, this mix is harder than the sand. I don't know if I've got it mixed up. Oh, there's some totally dry in there yet. I think the water has trouble finding its way through this stuff already. I got water on top that's not finding its way to the bottom of the bucket. Look at this, it's all gummed up on the... Okay, well, I'm not sure that the paint mixer was the right tool for the job. Okay, here goes. It's totally different. There's no question about that. My observations about the different soil may not be correct as into, you know, how they're going to deal with water, but at least they're different. We can easily tell that they're different. See, I'm trying to tamp that, but I'm not doing a very good job of tamping because every time I pull it's sticking to the brick and then...
Wait, I got an idea.
Uh-oh. Oh, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, it will.
Okay, we need to add to our order...
Saran wrap.
Yeah. 1/4 acre of saran wrap, please. And by the time she overlaps like this, maybe we better go with a complete acre's worth. What in the world? Oh no. Now, if we just leave the saran wrap in there, it'll actually hold.
Yeah, but we ain't gonna do that. That's better than your brick did.
It's a lot better than my brick.
Is that good enough?
Yeah. Over here on this side a little bit, right next to the walls. The only risk is next to the walls, really. That's a kind of a harder place to seal, right?
You thought I was crazy.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do this on the whole pond.
You're not, but that's what your secret tool that's coming is for.
Saran wrap layer. I think if we put that outside, that could really be a brick.
Yep.
This over here, not so much. Now, I'm making marks on the sides of the bucket here. I'm going to fill up to the 2-inch line, and then I'm going to make additional marks on down. I don't know that it really matters for the marks on down, but I'm going to make every inch on below 2 inches just to keep track of how much is escaped. Do you think I should try to tamp this side anymore with your approach?
I was going to ask you what you thought.
Just to make them even? Okay, this is the sandy bucket. We decided in order to try to be consistent.
Okay, this is a size 7 shoe, if you're wondering.
If you're a size 8,
You're out
forget
of
it.
luck.
In women's,
Yeah, that's about the same, don't you think?
probably. I think it's all we're going to do because the this one just doesn't pack as much. We can already see that it packs less than the other one.
Right.
This one's the clay on this side, and I will say that none of the 3 cups of water found its way out of the bottom, so we didn't get a drop out of either one. For this step, we're going to sprinkle it in there and try not to disturb the compacted soil. Maybe a little hard to see with the shadow, and hopefully I'm going gentle enough with that. Now remember, there's holes in the bottom of the bucket. The documentation says that we should expect a little bit of seepage. It says if the seepage still occurs after 48 hours, then we have to use more bentonite. Would you call that up to the line? With the
Just
air
a
bubbles.
little more.
Needs a little more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we're going to put a lid on this so we don't have a lot of evaporation, right? And we're not going to put the lid sealed down hard on it because we don't want to create a vacuum. I don't know that we would, but yeah, that's how we're going to handle that. Now if this one totally seals, I'm going to try one without any bentonite. We'll be back in 48 hours. Okay, our 48 hours are up and we've got a huge surprise. In sports, oftentimes they say that's why they play the games. Well, that's exactly what's going on here. That's why we actually did the test. This is the clay again on this side, and we are down almost an inch. Yeah, we're down a full inch there. We noticed it being moist, wet under this bucket within an hour after filling it. We have never seen a drop of water come out of the bottom of this bucket. Okay, unbelievable. It's fully up to the line. I did lose a little bit of water early yesterday morning. I quickly took the lid off and it had condensed against the top, and I dropped a little water out here. So just a tad there, but that's not related to the test. That was just because I didn't know what I was doing. I think at this point, we're going to have to talk to the experts because yeah, I did not expect this. This I thought would be the worst soil we could find in the entire bottom, and it's worked better. This was the best, and 2 pounds of bentonite is not enough. What do we do now? Okay, I've emptied out the water now, and I've taken my brick just to see what I could do here. This is the clay. I hope you can see for this shadow, but I can take that brick and I can push it right down in there, all the way to the bottom with, I don't know, a minimal amount of pressure. That's on the clay side. Watch this over on the sand. Same brick on the sand side. I go in there and I'm pushing probably 50 pounds and I'm not able to push it down. These soils are totally different. So I asked Natural Waterscapes what we should do, and they want me to run the tests again. This time they want me to put some rock in the bottom of the buckets to make sure that I get any drainage out of the bottom, you know, that it didn't get plugged up some other way. So they want to put a couple of inches of rock in the bottom of the bucket. And then they want me to try with more bentonite. Well, I'm going to try with more bentonite in the blue clay, but I'm going to try with no bentonite in the yellow stuff. I think we may have something in the yellow stuff. Well, I took the buckets and just tipped them over really hard, upside down. Look at the difference. It's muddy on the bottom of this one. This is the clay that's on the very bottom. This is totally dry. Totally dry. We have to go down several inches here before we see any moisture at all. Look at that. I was fooled. I think we already know our answer, but we'll do this next test just to prove it. So there was some doubt as to whether the water was able to find its way to the holes, and they wanted me to redo the test with rocks in the bottom of the hole. They said pea gravel. I don't have any pea gravel, but I do have some number 8 crushed stone here that's washed. In other words, it doesn't have any dust in it. Yes, I've made lines in the bucket so that it's exactly 2 inches, Christy. Maybe a little bit more in that one. Okay, here's the 2 buckets again. The clay, what I'm calling the sand, clearly not sand. And I filled them a little fuller to account for the 2 inches at the bottom. There's my 10-inch mark there. There's my 10-inch mark there. And I think I'll make another mark an inch higher for the water level before I do any more. I can't do a full 2 inches. I don't have enough bucket left to do that. I'm not going to put any bentonite in this one. I'm going to put 4 pounds per square foot in this one. But I'm still going to mix the 3 cups of water in. Just for the fun of it. Not mixing anything in, just mixing it. I can still see a lot of bentonite on top. A lot more than in the prior test, but that makes sense. Okay, Christy, that's 3 cups. Not 2 3/4, not 3 1/4, but 3 cups. Why am I mixing this one first? Because it doesn't stick to the mixer. See how easy that comes off of there? You can already see the bentonite getting bigger in this one. See, it doesn't come off of that at all. Totally different material. I'm going to use the bag this time for my glove. There we go. That's good on that. Now I'm going to turn this over. Yeah, I've got some gray on it, but so I can't tell you how much different this feels. It definitely feels sandy. You can almost even hear it, I think. It doesn't pack as tightly. Feels a little bit more soupy. I don't think I'm going to pack it anymore, though. Initially, the water on the clay side remains clear. The water on the sandy side gets sandy. This is bizarre. For science to work, you got to be willing to let go of your assumptions, and that really is the #1 point here. We're almost 24 hours, probably 20 hours into the second round of testing here. Neither side has had any leakage at all. Remember, we had no bentonite at all in what we're calling the sandy stuff. Now we have 4 pounds in the blue clay gooey stuff. If we look in there, no water has left on either side. So I consider that sufficient. I think we now know that that yellow stuff, whatever it is, will hold water, will seal the edge of the pond, and that the blue stuff, as nasty as it's been from the time of the beginning here, and I've been trying to save it, I've been trying to to spread it just perfectly around the top of the pond and all that, that stuff is junk. So what I've got to do at this point is figure out how to rework the whole thing. You know, I've lined the pond with the blue. I've given away a lot of the yellow stuff, not all of it. We still have some left, and if you remember right, we put some in the end of the pond down here. So now I've got to rethink the whole thing. The area I'm standing on here is of the yellow type clay sandy material that we want. I've got blue clay all the way around the top edges. I've got it in that keyway that I put in. Got to try to figure out how to recover from this. Yes, of course, it would have been better had I had an expert in from day one, but you know how it goes. You're not going to do that. I'm just thankful that I found Natural Waterscapes when I did, and this has enlightened me, and I think it's going to make the pond work. Yes, I need to be doing the seeding now and being done for the season, but hey, if I end up with a pond that holds water, then it's all going to be worth it. And yeah, I just don't know exactly how I'm going to do the process of reworking this. In other words, I don't know whether I'm going to push that blue clay back down in the bottom, whether I'm going to try to pull it out. I can put bentonite in the blue and make it hold water, or I can use the yellow. A lot of decisions to make. Yeah, I'll leave you on edge because I don't know what to do either. I hope you found this enjoyable because, wow, it's been enlightening to me. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.
The earth takes shape like clay under a seal. Its features stand out like those of a garment.
Well, I don't think this cat, Bo, is quite ready for the ride. I have a theory that you'll see that in just a second here. Yeah. Yeah, you can get out there, see?